we're hearing Benjamin Netanyahu doubling down on that message. He's been consistent. They will only pause the war for a hostage deal, but will not end the war. This sounds like the main sticking point right now out of Cairo.
But it's a hell of a sticking point. Israel has been obviously willing to do some kind of partial deal where they get back some hostages in exchange for a pause. Hamas has never veered since the first batch of releases from its position that it has to be all or nothing. And logically, that makes sense, because the minute they give up the last hostage, they lose their life insurance policy. So that is why many people are concluding that the two goals of destroying Hamas and returning the hostages are in fact contradictory, and one or the other has to be prioritized. And for the government, it is a very nerve-wracking situation, I'm sure, and I do not envy them their predicament. And there's pressure on Israel, on the government right now, to prioritize getting back the hostages almost at any cost, understanding that you can fight Hamas another day, maybe in another war after the next provocation. Giving them that victory narrative would really be terrible. So that's the dilemma Israel faces. I would take anything being said or done at this point as maneuvering, as negotiating tactics, and I hate to say we're just left to wait and see. I'm kind of doubtful they would launch an operation on Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is this evening. And also, the other thing is, they haven't yet begun to remove the population. And this has given Israel's various ultimatums a veneer of lack of credibility, because you sort of have to do that before you can really move in for the real operation.
I think it's too early was to start, I think, while Biden a few days ago point on Hamas as the main problematic stone.
No, the Prime Minister masquerading as a senior official, saying, even as Israel awaits the answer that no matter what they're going to go into Rafah, really looks like an effort to sabotage his own negotiation. So this is really, really walking on a precipice. And the next hours, as the Major General says, are incredibly combustible.
Dan, police are raiding the Al Jazeera offices in Jerusalem right now, confiscating equipment as we speak. It's a controversial move. Your insights?
If Israel wanted to give anti-Israel propagandists the best conceivable gift, they would be raiding Al Jazeera right now. It looks like a conspiracy against Israel, frankly. Look, I understand the sentiment, for sure, because Al Jazeera's coverage is not friendly to Israel. That's clear. On the other hand, it does look somewhat typically unintelligent, because they will still be able to cover the war. They will still get video from other sources in Israel and elsewhere. They can still operate in the Palestinian territories, West Bank and Gaza, which is simply not Israel. They can still interview people in Israel by Zoom. The coverage will remain, and Israel's reputation will have taken another hit. It is almost unbelievably boneheaded. That's pretty much all I can say. Now, look, again, it's populistically, I get it. Like, it'll probably be popular. But is it really, really intelligent? I'll add something else. Full disclosure, I've appeared on Al Jazeera maybe a half dozen times. It is not a friendly environment, that is for sure. And I'm not representing any government, but I certainly do not subscribe to their narrative, and they let me speak with respect, and that is more than I would get as a critic of the Israeli government on Channel 14 and the other propaganda outfits in Israel. And also, this is being done under the aegis of a law that enables them to shut down any foreign media in Israel. It is a very, very slippery slope, and Israel is really dismally joining the ranks of countries that do shut down media because of political issues, like Russia and China. Who banned Al Jazeera in the recent years? Egypt, because they didn't support the military coup. It is really not a good look, and that is in no way intended to defend the coverage of Al Jazeera, which is indeed objectionable.
There is a difference, though, Dan, between coverage which is not friendly, as you say, and incitement, which is what Israel is saying. Al Jazeera is the Hamas incitement mouthpiece.
Yeah, well, they're going to continue to do that, aren't they? And probably with more credibility if Israel is a country that bans TV stations. It's a very fine line between criticism and incitement. Now, look, if they said that Al Jazeera specifically took action that endangered or harmed the safety of soldiers or whatever, that would be different. They suggest that, but they haven't proved it. And I really don't think it's true.
Your thoughts?
One point just to add about the large things that were briefed here, and I support all of them. What is the fact is, it's a signal from Israel to Qatar, in my opinion. This is the issue. It's a different day today. And remember what I said a few minutes ago about the change of Bibi Netanyahu's way towards the negotiations and towards the countries that are involved. Qatar was one of the favorites. Bibi Netanyahu asked Qatar to enter for many years money here from Israel to Hamas. And Qatar was one of the favorite and supported, and I think it should be discussed after the war to find out what was going there. And now, after a lot of efforts on Qatar to try to reach agreement and to release of the hostages, came this kind of decision that was not done before as a kind of showing towards Qatar, kind of credit towards they are going. It means now the door is closed.
And Israel needs certain things from Qatar. Israel would like Qatar to kick out the Hania crowd. Israel would like Qatar to put the squeeze on Hamas maximally. They don't run Hamas, but they certainly have leverage. Israel has people in Qatar constantly negotiating. This kind of move, which will be perceived as anti-Qatar, is honestly so self-defeating that one wonders in stupefaction.
Well, we certainly will be watching to see the reaction. We know on the screens on Al Jazeera from the local coverage right now, there is a message saying, and we can see it on our screens right now, that they are not broadcasting anymore. We know that those raids are happening as we speak in the newsrooms in Al Jazeera in Jerusalem right now. Dan Perry, Eitan Dangat, a pleasure to have your insights. This conversation will continue, no doubt, but that's where we wrap up for now. For this edition of our breaking news coverage, I'm Benita Levine. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching.